we start, right? Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to our workshop. This is the Hong Kong Medical AI Workshop at the World Summit of AI. This is our first time attending here at this summit, also in Amsterdam, Netherlands. And this is very specific for us because Hong Kong is a kind of very international hub, vibrant hub. And soon my superior, Paula, she's actually the head of the Hong Kong Invest in the Brussels office, will give the outline. Paula, you will take the floor, please.
Also from my side, welcome. Thanks for coming. We realize that we are a little bit between lunch and the afternoon drinks, so we hope you can stay awake with us. Like the title slide says here, we're going to talk about medical AI, the possibilities for going IPO in Hong Kong. And not to forget what is there on the second line. Hong Kong very much can be used as your regional APAC hub, right? And medical AI, we've seen a lot of, let me see whether all this beautiful stuff works. We've seen a lot of developments there because AI can be used in so many fields in medicine, right? It's about drug development, it's about treatment, it's about diagnosis. Oh, I should have said that the other way around. Diagnosis, treatment, and a whole host of number crunching and improved treatment that wasn't possible before AI entered our lives, right? A very distinguished panel this afternoon. There is Greg, who has a background in life sciences and is an Asia expert with about 15 years in Japan, Greg. Now working for Invest Hong Kong. There's Stratos, who has the fantastic double experience of the Hong Kong Hospital Authority and now in Prudential, the insurance company. And we have Ellen, who speaks to us from Receptor AI. Ellen, your field is complicated to the extent that I'm going to leave it to you, because otherwise I'm going to make a fool of myself. And we have via screen later with us Anastasia Litt. Anastasia, I see you. You can probably see us a little bit. I'll leave it to you to share your insights with the audience. Then, very briefly, what is all happening here? The important speakers are the people who come after me. First, Greg is going to set the stage, and then the three testimonials. I'll leave each of them to introduce themselves later. A few words about Invest Hong Kong as the party who brought all these people together, right? Who are we at Invest Hong Kong? We're actually a totally non-sexy outfit. We're a government department. However, where does government always come in very useful? To give you neutral info and to help you as entrepreneurs grow your business. We're a facilitator. We help companies that want to use Hong Kong as their Asia hub, right? We do that with 31 offices around the world. I have the honor of being the head of one of those offices. But more importantly, the secret sauce of Invest Hong Kong, I would like to say, are the sector teams, the experts in Hong Kong. And before I talk about those experts, just what it says here at the bottom, very important, we are in cost-conscious Netherlands. Our services are free. And then sometimes people say, what's your business model? How can this be free? Very simple. You grow your business, you come to Hong Kong, and you probably rent an office, and you hire some Hong Kong staff. And also with your knowledge, you enrich, you improve the Hong Kong economic landscape, right? So that's the business model. Quite simple, really. And those sector teams, I have circled here the ones that are relevant for today, but basically with the sector teams, we cover all economic activities. The sector teams that are relevant for today are innovation and technology, where Greg is one of the experts, and also the ICT team, where we dive into AI, right? So we're all talking this afternoon medical science, medcare, and AI. So I think it's time for me to leave you in the good hands of the next speaker. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for the warm welcome, for the introduction about our activities and from Invest Hong Kong, for the Hong Kong government side. Now I give you a short journey, what we are doing with the biomedical ecosystem, especially within medical AI. So this is, of course, this kind of skyline of Hong Kong is very, I mean, I lived 10 years and then 5 years extras in Japan, and then I went to Hong Kong, and you see really a vibrant city. It's like in New York, the city never sleeps. And it's always normally mentioned like a logistic hub or financial hub. But now it's also very proliferating the INT sector, this means innovation technology. And we invite biotech companies, AI companies, robotic companies to place in Hong Kong. So now I tell you this in brief because already Paula mentioned this. I belong to the innovation technology sector team. And if you have questions and you have questions about Hong Kong, the market in China and Asia, please reach out to me. So this we also mentioned in the beginning. When you come to Hong Kong, you actually place really central in Asia. This is actually the map, and you see Hong Kong, you can reach in 5 hours 50% of the world's population. And this is maybe also strategic-wise very good opportunity to reach, for example, not only mainland China, also Japan, South Korea, etc. So landing in Hong Kong means also to reach out for the other markets. So medical AI. So first is the thing we talk now. When we hear in this promising summit, there's of course many AI topics, but now we want to narrow down about medical AI because to give you a flavor what of our subsectors is doing. So when we talk about medical AI, what is it actually about? So normally we talk about the traditional medicine. The traditional medicine was like people going to the doctor when it's too late, you know, and then now in future is like we're talking about monitoring, we're talking about precision medicine, your personal medicine. So now based on the fact of new data and you know new tools, AI tools, so we have actually cohort studies, we have big data from healthy volunteers and not healthy volunteers, we can actually make a better prediction. And why is it very important? Because with these tools, it's not only the technique-wise, okay, we want to utilize it. No, we want to actually improve the quality of life, especially for the elderly persons. So the macro topic is aging society. And you will not believe it, in Asia we have also this kind of topic, the silver population, how should we do it? It's not about that they should become 200 years old, but we want the quality of life in the last years. And then you want also that your healthcare system is also relieved, not have chronic patients and so on. So therefore, we have many technology innovation steps here, as you can see in the presentation. This will help us to invite more AI tools, bridging the topic of the normal medicine to medical AI proliferation. So this is just a kind of, this is always one of my beginning slides, it's a kind of snapshot of our value chain. So why I show this is, you know, companies are involved in basic research or preclinical or clinical trials or making products. And this I show like a value chain. This means regardless any reason which stage you have, you can find your niche here. As a startup company, maybe you license out or you merge with a pharma or biotech, or you work, you find a joint venture partner in Hong Kong. Plus you connect with the hospitals, they give you kind of patient population access and so on. So I think you can go along this value chain to grow your product in Hong Kong within medical AI. So this is just also a snapshot about the public and private healthcare systems. Is similar like in the Netherlands or in Germany and so on. So we have also regulation. This means when you have a product already approved in America and in Europe and so on, we just need not so much evidence. We say you're already approved. You can land automatically and sell your products in Hong Kong. This is another value chain about clinical trials. Why it's important because sometimes you need a backup study. You have to make new trials or additional trials. So it's depending on the patient population and therapeutic area. And then we also invite medical AI companies to join. So it's always about big data, cohort studies, and so on, how to improve the trials and make them more efficient because clinical trials are very expensive. This is also another value chain about our healthcare service development by the government and also by the community. So what is it about? It's, as I triggered, it's about the future and the now. It's about we want to make prevention, early diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation. Because frankly speaking, we cannot afford it that people are ill. So they should be healthy, they should have a healthy lifestyle, and they should participate with family life and work life and so on. So this is just going to the way of medical AI because of diagnostic, why it's so important. The thing is, we're creating new tools in medical AI. They talk about biomarkers. So you can actually create a kind of new approach how to detect Parkinson, Alzheimer's disease in the earlier phase, or eye diseases. For example, you have glaucoma and AMD, and when you find out about this thing too late, you cannot make an intervention. So we want that you have an early detection of what you have, and you can have an early treatment for your disease. And therefore, diagnostics are more and more important. This is about the AI for drug discovery. Later, Alan will give a nice picture about the strong activity between of drug discovery and drug development. So clinical trials, the development is always expensive, millions. And then you're starting also with animal tests, which I don't like. You have animal tests, human tests, and so on. So with this kind of future tools, the companies can help actually to speed up the development of drug discovery development. This we hear later from Alan in detail. This is just to mention, his competitor is in Silicon Medicine, also doing well in Hong Kong. They came from America and placed their headquarters now in Hong Kong. Yes, so genomic projects, I think you have similar in Europe, so you have this kind of cohort studies about the people, and actually you have to utilize this to make new tools and new medicines for your community. Fundraising capital. So always we have to ask how we fund this, how we pay this. And you will not believe it, the last speaker today is Anastasia Litt, and she's from Deep Knowledge Group, and they make really the best reports in the world on medical AI. And I utilize their reports to understand who's actually paying for that. And when you see the drug discovery, for example, some pharma like AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Novartis, Takeda, Merck and Johnson are very strong involved, and they cannot do it by themselves. We always believe pharma are so great, they can do everything. No, they can't. So they go to the Slushy event, Web Summit, whatever event to scout for new tools, and they pay for that. And one of the strongest payers are actually from China, so especially pharma like Wuxi Uptech and so on, Fosun and so on are involved in that. So I think we can imagine a big push in the next years to proliferate some medical AI tools in the drug discovery and drug development area. So Hong Kong is actually a kind of financial hub. We are actually the third biggest financial hub after New York and London. And now we created a kind of new tool with the Hong Kong Exchange. It's called the Chapter 18A. It's going pre-revenue IPO. And this means we also measure the science. With this, it's not so bureaucratic. You can easier go IPO in Hong Kong to raise money for your clinical trials. It's often like 30 million and more, and often the companies they raise with IPO like 300 million or 500 million. So this is a very nice tool for us. They established this for several years, and we can feel it now because we get now the push and pull effect from mainland China. This is an example from the Hong Kong Exchange with a chapter, and there's a company TigerMed. They went really big IPO there, and cherry on top. When we talk about startups, normally they don't raise so much money. And there's a new tool. And maybe in the room people know about the Spark. You know Spark? Special Purpose Acquisition Company? It's like a vehicle company. So you get a kind of pathway to go Spark IPO. And this company, Pronetics, a medical device company for PCR test, it's like a startup, went IPO, Spark IPO for $1.7 billion in Hong Kong. That's amazing. So yeah, but we have to see, we have to see what happened, so yeah. Yes, this is Hong Kong Exchange. We recently had the Biotech Summit, and I invited, I'm not kidding, I should not talk about this, but I invited the CEO of BioNTech, the vaccine company, being keynote speaker. I'm very proud of that. And they have interest because of infectious disease in Hong Kong and Asia. Greater Bay Area, Paula already triggered this. Greater Bay Area is actually with us a kind of macro plan, a macro region with over 70 million population. So talking to Hong Kong means also reaching out to Shenzhen, Macau, etc. and so on. And this is also a kind of pool of talents. So, and market opportunity. And this is the Science Park. It's a kind of, I call it like a city of city, a place with over 1,500 tech companies. There's incubators, accelerators, the funding. When you have interest in medical AI or biomedical projects, we have an incubation fund called IncuBio, where you get 670,000 euro non-dilutive. You don't have to pay back. You just have to pass the test. And this is a milestones plan, money plan for 3 years. If you have questions to that, ask me, I can give you the information. And this is a kind of accelerators for AI companies, all kinds of AI activities. And in China, we say, why not do it bigger? So you saw the Hong Kong Science Park, and now we teamed up with Shenzhen, and then we call it the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation Technology Park. And of course, size matters, all is bigger, and all the fields like healthcare, big data, robotics, and so on are involved. And this means landing in Hong Kong means also landing in Greater Bay Area. Summary is, we can help you, like Paula said, regardless that you're a startup, scale-up, or multinational. We give you information about network, regulation, key opinion leaders, stakeholders, investors. And this is my summary of summary. This is our value chain in medical AI, and you're centered in Asia. Now, if you want to hear more about medical in Hong Kong, I would like to introduce my next speakers with Stratos and Alan afterwards. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, can we load the slides? Or is it already loaded? Okay. Right, hi. Welcome everyone. My name is Stratos. So I guess I'm here for two reasons, because I worked on the medical AI for some years. Also, I helped Hospital Authority to set up their AI lab and another data collaboration lab, which I mentioned later. And also, I live in Hong Kong more than 10 years, so that's the second reason I guess I'm here. So I'll talk about more applications in Hong Kong, right? I think we're doing great in medical AI in Hong Kong. I'll explain the reasons why this happens. So I'll talk about, funny-wise, these are also my previous jobs. So actually, that's why I have the chance to talk about this, because medical data can be related, to diagnostics, can be related, for example, to operations in hospital, can be related to insurance companies. So that's why this is how I build also my work. Okay, I'll get this slide because I love these slides, like the atlas of medical data. It includes all kinds of data. We know people working in the field know how complicated is that and how many things you can do by using different kinds of data. But why is cool this in Hong Kong, right? So Hospital Authority is a unique case, right? I'm not sure if anywhere in the world there's like 40 public hospitals all connected together and actually serving 8 million people with diverse background. For data scientists, you know that it's very important to have like diverse background and who has a good diversity in that. And also you can see the numbers, and they digitize the data for more than 20 years. So I think this is a very unique, and I would say a heaven for data scientists, right? And what is even cooler is all is centralized. You don't have to go hospital by hospital and ask that, all right? So the government says they have initiative in 2018 and say, for example, how we can leverage this data of open data, right? What can we do about it, right? So Hospital Authority has worked on two projects. The first one is what we call the Data Collaboration Lab that opens 10 years of all kinds of data for universities to do research. Basically apply every year, new cohort, they go in, professors, and they write a lot of research by using this data, right? And I'll have the catalog later. So this is actually typical research on medical data. And the other one, the labs, what we call the AI lab, is what we call applied research. So basically how can you use this data to do solutions to help the hospitals, all right? So these are the two projects that AHA has leveraged the data. And here is like the catalog of all the data that has been launched during that time, right? So as you can see, it's all from medication data, like clinical notes, medical imaging, radiology reports, any kind of data that anybody would like to work with. And of course, we got like some publicity, from the Global Digital Health and NHS, so they mentioned the lab, so it got some international, headlights actually. And here I have like some applications that be used in the hospital, right? So you can see AI imaging is very strong. Actually, there is some other application for hepatitis, AI detection, instrument counting for surgery. Some actually other areas that work is rehabilitation and patient fall detection. So as you can see, some of them are actually diagnostics, some of them are operations. And one of the most famous one is actually, maybe you cannot read that, but it's on the news. But actually what it did is we set up a chest X-ray for lung nodule detection algorithm. So a lot of people, when go to the emergency room, they have a second screening because there was some cases that people show up for another kind of another incident, but they will have a nodule, but doctors didn't see. So they want an extra layer, extra screening. So when they show up, to catch it and make sure they have like early detection of all this kind of lung cancer, right? So, but actually also AHA has worked a lot of COVID. And during COVID, we tried to do a lot of triaging application when we had a limited bed. So we tried to analyze the medical data from the patients and try to make sure that which ones would be stable for the next days, so we can use them for let them get out of the hospital, or some others that they are deteriorating, keep them inside the hospital. Then we can do a better management for the beds. So these are different applications. You can use medical data that actually has been applied. And of course, we did a lot of internships, and actually we did a lot of clinical AI challenges together with the community. So I think it's pretty cool. So that would kind of like summarize a little bit the hospital, the Hong Kong Hospital Authority applications. But of course, if somebody's interested, please come back later and I will let you know more information about these applications, right? So I will move a little bit more healthcare and insurance companies. So as you can see, there was a study actually quite some time ago that shows that 80% of Hong Kongers are interested to use AI technology for health management. So Prudential actually has leveraged this opportunity to launch a lot of healthcare applications to engage the customers, to engage our customers. And one of the, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Babylon. I mean, it comes from UK, so they had a good collaboration. We still have an excellent collaboration to leverage their applications, which are about health check and symptom checker. People that you're familiar with that, it's an NLP application based on the questions and some graphs that they created. They try to come together, understand if you're susceptible to some kind of disease in the future, or you have a 360 assessment of your body. So based on simple question answering, right? So this is really cool, has been launched in Pulse, which Pulse is actually our main ecosystem for Prudential that hosts all these applications, healthcare applications, including AI. Another thing that we've done is actually BMI, so selfie BMI. So we tried, at least internally developed. So basically, by taking a picture of your face, they try to estimate your BMI and then give you different suggestions. These are kind of applications that we launched not very recently. I would say more than 3 years ago. So people might say, okay, selfie BMI might not be very advanced, but actually it's not something new. It has been launched in multiple markets all over Asia. And this is a little bit the details. I mean, I already explained how the Babylon works and about this question answering and about the symptom checker and health check, so I won't go into details on that. Another application that we launched recently, again, about health AI related, is more computer vision related, is with a startup from Singapore, which basically is called Nervotech. And what they try to do is they try to take a video of your face and extract the vital signs and connect these vital signs to the stress level, right? So in my first part of the presentation, I talk about medical AI and clinical AI, and now I'll try to bring some more wellness and healthcare and health management applications, all right? So as you can see, you take a video, then the video recognizes your face, then try to understand the change of the light, how the light changes, so then they can extract the vital signs. And of course, on top of that, you can extract some analytics about your stress level, BPM, and all this kind of information that can help you manage your health on a daily basis. And I mean, this is like a slide that shows like different FDA-approved AI solutions that has been actually out for quite some time. As you can see, they're all over, like cardiology, radiology, and so again, it's more clinical. This is, I think, 2020. I'm pretty sure this now has scaled all these slides. So it's very awesome that there's a lot of things going on in this field, but also around our area in Asia, we have a lot of startups. And I would say in medical imaging, we have a lot of successful cases. For example, we had IMSIGHT that they do like lung nodule detection on CTs. Again, on X-ray, we have Lunit from Korea, also working like, on different kind of disease findings on the chest X-ray. We have Infravision coming from mainland China, also a lot of work on CT. And of course, like SenseTime, you might know that one of their solutions also focusing on medical and cardiology, also on CT, all this kind of applications. So I would say medical imaging is quite good, quite strong in the area, and we have quite successful cases also adopted by hospitals. But of course, assessing, validating an AI model is not so straightforward. I'm pretty sure people working here in the field will already know that. I mean, how the model can generalize geographically, or for example, if there is any bias, or there's a lot of things, a lot of flaws that can show up. But I can guarantee you that, Hospital Authority and also Prudential and other companies who work in the field are working hard to assess and validate all these solutions so they can make sure the patients and also the customers have a good service. This is something personal, which I believe it's a clinical adoption of AI. And I believe AI, as we go into 2020-22, is helping more towards the back-end operations, alerting, triaging, helping, using all this data information to basically help the operations of the hospital. And as it builds more trust together with the doctors, it moves forward to recommending a co-diagnosing. This means it comes closer to the doctor and help make decisions, right? So as we build trust with this technology, it will come closer to the doctor. So of course, Professor Jeffrey Hinton says, we stop training radiologists now, but I would say, a lot of people say now that we start training doctors using AI, which is actually, I think now it's a better quote for the moment. Sorry, Professor. And before I close, I would say it's a winter time for AI in Hong Kong, but I would say it's summertime. And please come there. There's a lot of opportunities on research level, on actually business level, doing good evaluations on models, and it's a good step going forward to Asia. Thank you very much.
And now it's the floor for Alan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for Hong Kong Invest and Gregory for introducing us. It's a pleasure for me. Today I would like to demonstrate how exactly we apply artificial intelligence to discover novel drugs. Receptor AI is a company of experienced AI engineers, computational biologists and chemists who develop next generation AI platform to help pharma and biotech design novel drugs with higher parameters of safety and efficacy. A little bit about drug discovery markets and problem. To develop one successful drug and bring it to market, pharma companies spend more than $1 billion. This process takes more than 10 years, and success rate is only 4%. And for example, each year in US, approving more than 50 drugs, in Asia and China, approving more than 58 drugs, and in Europe, approximately 40 drugs. And accordingly, such a funds allocated to develop these drugs, like US more than $55 billion, Asia and China $50 billion, and Europe $40 billion. And this number shows that Asia and China is a very interesting market for drug discovery and pharmaceutical industry. Also interesting correlation between developing novel drugs and size of the companies. And more than 63% of novel drugs developed by small, medium enterprise pharma. It means that a lot of new companies comes into the market, and only 37% of novel drugs developed by big pharma, and this number are reducing. Okay, a little bit about drug discovery and biology, from organism to molecules. Human body is made up of organs and tissues. Organs and tissues are made up of cells. It is very complex machineries that consist different internal organs and billions of processes. And all the processes regulated by proteins. And proteins are responsible for such functions as transporting different signaling, structural components, and digestive functions. And each human cell produces more than 20,000 unique proteins. And all the proteins are related to some of the biological mechanisms. And proteins are regulated by small molecules. Small molecules produced by our body internally. It is natural small molecules. And also it's possible to regulate proteins by activating or deactivating them using artificial molecules. And our company, Receptor AI, using AI to design novel small molecule drugs to manipulate and regulate different complex biological mechanisms and treat diseases. And more than 95% of all existing drugs are small molecules. Receptor AI provides fully automated AI platform, and our solutions are accessible in two modes. First, it is a SaaS platform and also custom R&D services. What is this SaaS platform? It is a fully automated platform that covers the main drug discovery stages. It is drug design, drug synthesis, drug biological quality assessment, and analysis. And we have equipped this platform with the help of user-friendly interface, and this platform allows to design drugs using a few clicks, and you will get successful drugs. Also, we provide custom services, and we have a much wider set of AI tools to complete any complexity drug discovery projects. A little bit about our drug discovery pipeline and how we interact with customers. The typical customer of our company, it is head of R&D department from biotech or pharma company. And they come to us with some of the protein of interest associated with some of the particular disease mechanism. And our platform fully computational. It is cloud platform deployed onto the AWS, and we use these proteins in digital way. It is a 3D structural representation of human proteins. And in the first stage, we work with proteins and prepare this information. On the second stage, we work with small molecules, and we have aggregated more than 30 billion small molecules provided by chemical manufacturers. These are commercial molecules, you can order it, and they can synthesize in very efficient and fast time. Also, these molecules represented in digital way, in 3D computational mode, and we process such a big databases, and system works like, please system find me the best molecules from this multi-billion space related to our protein target. On the third stage, we upload protein of interest, it is 3D structure of protein, and upload 30 billion molecules in 3D representation into the platform. Our platform integrates more than 40 AI models that works in parallel and can screen such a multi-billion spaces and find the best molecules related to your proteins that will activate or deactivate these proteins and in such way regulate disease mechanisms. You can imagine protein as a lock and small molecules it's a key. And our main tasks find the best key that will activate or deactivate this protein. And also there is another task, our key should open only one lock because we have 20,000 of them. If we open other doors, we will have a lot of adverse effects. And that's why it's like a task of 3D representation of protein and molecule. After the system screens this database, we will get top 1,000 compounds that has best safety and efficacy parameters, and these compounds are ready to go to the experimental labs that integrated into the platform. Our partner will physically synthesize these molecules and then evaluate biological activity and quality of these molecules, and they can represent this experiment in real life. They will get real protein and real molecule and evaluate interaction in tube. In such way, they can approve some of the good molecules in this way. Such a process could be repeated iteratively until we get successful drug candidate. We have simplified and accelerated this process, and this process takes only 2 months in comparison with traditional methods. It takes more than a year. And also we have reduced costs for more than 7 times to make it accessible for patient who needs urgent needs in treatment to get drugs faster. Now I would like to show how exactly in a few clicks, for example, to design molecules against cancer. It's very simple. It works like Google search for novel drugs. The only thing you need to do is select one of the protein of interest associated with your disease mechanism. For example, we select some of the protein for cancer. After that, you will see 3D representation of this protein to make sure that structure is correct and you can continue work. And this is the last stage that takes only 3 simple steps to design drugs. First stage, it is select molecule database from which we can screen molecules against our protein. On the second stage, we set filtering parameters, and the last stage, we should select properties, safety, of efficacy of desirable drugs, and then press button run, and that's all that you need to do to get drugs. And on the next stage, you will get 1,000 molecules, and using a radar chart, you can evaluate like efficiency and safety of your molecules. It's very useful, and also for advanced users, it's accessible to see 3D representation of molecule and protein and how good this molecule located into the binding pocket of protein. A little bit about AI. Our platform is fully customizable, and we have created fully automated AI pipeline. And for example, our customers have raw chemical or biological data. They need only upload data, and in the end, they will get ready-to-use AI model. And this pipeline includes like automated data preprocessing, feature selection, model selection, hyperparameter tuning, performance evaluation, and deploying. And also, when you have ready-to-use model, it's accessible to integrate it in our proprietary pipeline constructor that integrates more than 50 pre-trained AI models for drug discovery, and then you can play with workflows and create your own drug discovery pipelines to complete any projects. Little bit about our traction. We have founded our company in 2021, and for this short time we have established number of strategic collaborations with biotech and pharma companies. We are generating revenue and launched number of commercial projects. We have number of case studies, pilot projects, and publishing dozens of scientific articles. Also establishing number of academic collaboration and help design drugs to researchers, and this non-collaboration, commercial activities of our company, and provide free access to the platform. Also now we're in a fundraising mode of our seed round of 1.2 million. And what our customer will get while interacting with us, it is successful drug candidate with very high parameters of safety and efficacy, with higher chances to go successfully through clinical trials. Also, we are providing accelerated and cost-efficient pipeline, fully end-to-end project management team that can work with any complexity drug discovery projects, and also customizable platform for any project and the customer requirements. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Alan. So now we give the floor to Anastasia from the Deep Knowledge Group. This is the final talk. I'm very delighted about this because you will give us an overlook of the world's landscape within medical AI. Can we have Anastasia now?
There she is.
Yes. Anastasia, please go ahead.
Sure, thank you so much. So do you see my screen right now? Is everything fine? Okay. So thank you all for your attention and inviting me and having me. It's a pleasure to be with you and present this presentation. I would like to talk about the world's AI for drug development landscape with a focus on Hong Kong and Asia, which is prepared by Deep Pharma Intelligence. And on our website, Deep Pharma Tech, you can find open access AI for drug discovery landscape overview. We recently published the one for Q3 2022. Where you can find more than 60 pages about the industry and its in-depth insights. So our report covers 600 major AI companies and 1,200 investors. So here you can see that there are already more investors than AI companies because of the big interest and the emerging industries that we face here. So this slide, you can see the landscape in 2D format, and on our website you can find the 3D format. You can play with it and find all the industry players. So as Aman said in his presentation before, the major problem why AI for drug discovery industry exists is that there are two major problems in biotech and pharma industries, that it takes more than 10 years to bring the new drug on the market, and it takes more than $2.6 billion to develop this new drug, to spend money on R&D. And the AI for drug discovery helps to accelerate this drug discovery, helps to make it in a fast, rapid way, and increasingly decrease the spendings on R&D and make it profitable. Here you can see the geographical overview of these 600 companies. As for now, the United States is leading for the AI for drug discovery companies, while we can see that UK and European Union have decreased in their presence for the past year. And at the same time, we can say that there is increase in Asian region, and there is a big interest in Middle East. And considering the Asia, especially Hong Kong and China, are developing a lot, and we can say that the spending on AI drug discovery in Hong Kong has increased recently. Here you can see the top 10 AI-driven public traded companies by market capitalization. The leading one is Apcelera with capitalization around $3 billion, and most of these companies are incorporated in the United States and in the United Kingdom, while we have Everest Medicines who are based in China. Regarding the 600 AI pharma companies by the stage, we can say that most of them, around 400 companies, are specializing in early drug development, while the others are specialized in data processing, clinical development, end-to-end drug development, preclinical development, and drug repurposing. Here you can see the map that is particularly focused on AI for drug development in Asia and Hong Kong. So here you can see that the tendency is the same, or even we can say that there are 70 companies compared to 200 investors. So there is such a big place for the companies to incorporate in the future, while most of the companies are specializing and everywhere on early drug development with the room for other subsectors. So regarding the distribution of AI pharma companies in Asia by total funding, we can see that on the top of this pyramid, there are less than 10 companies with funding more than 150 million, and the total funding in the middle is from 20 to 150, and there are some more companies with funding less than 20 million that are going to grow and accelerate in the future, and hope that we can see new SPACs and IPOs in the future in Hong Kong, and the new unicorns that will develop from these companies. Speaking of their disease area, most of the companies in the AI drug discovery industry specialize in oncology and immunology, as well as neurology and inflammation. And there are some lack of companies in gastrointestinal, orphan diseases, metabology, and cardiovascular diseases. So we are hopefully that with these companies we can beat all these diseases. Also, I would like to highlight the collaboration of Asian and Hong Kong companies with Big Pharma. This slide, in this rose column, you can see the big pharma companies and the companies with whom they work together and with whom they collaborate. Also, we should say that currently big pharma and healthcare companies, they are focusing also to find the M&A targets, as they're also struggling to find the good targets to acquire and make their company even stronger in terms of profits. And usually they have enough money, and many startups and not in IPO or in SPACs, but in these M&A deals. One of the notable cases in Hong Kong is Silica Medicine company and their AI platform. We can discuss it more on our masterclass, and I should say that I'm currently based in UAE, and there is a big buzz about in Silica Medicine. They had a presentation today in Dubai, and everyone is fascinated about their success. Here are the key takeaways I would like to highlight. So the use of AI facilities target for drug manufacture and closed the R&D gap in the pharmaceutical and manufacturing process. As a result, it increased their market share, but biopharmaceutical businesses are turning to AI. Also, we can say that there is a significant number of non-biotech investors to enter the life science sector, because here they can see that AI can speed up the drug discovery, and the sector becomes more profitable and interesting for investments. Also, we should say that the growing industry traction reflected in the increasing number of R&D partnerships between big pharma and CROs with AI startups is a sign that the market is maturing for rapid increase in M&A activity in the nearest future. And also, we could say that the AI drug discovery is heating up in Asia and Hong Kong, and we are going to see it even more profitable and interesting. So it's more attractive for the startups to be incorporated and find the investors and interested companies in them. And also, we should say that big pharma and contract research organizations are actively competing for AI collaborations, and they are seeking for interesting companies with whom they could work together. So thank you for your attention, and the more information you can find on our website, and you can read all the inaugural report and our insights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all speakers. And now we come to the famous Q&A session. And of course, I can make now triggering question to the presenters, but better is always to ask the audience first. So, do we have some nice questions about our session and speakers? Would you like to? Yes. So then you have to switch on, and please.
Hello?
Yes, great. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the session and the talks. Very insightful. Maybe a question to the last two speakers. If you look at the startup and scale-up culture in Hong Kong and what you have experienced, what would have been the three biggest challenges that you have faced in the working in Hong Kong?
Startup, right?
Right, a scale-up and a startup.
What year? Actually, I can tell you from years before until now. Actually, I think challenges. Actually, I don't think, okay, let me say something like this. I think the biggest challenge was basically maybe the skill set. But this might not be related to Hong Kong, because Hong Kong has one of the top universities like Hong Kong U, Science Park, HKUST. So there's a lot of good universities that a lot of talents coming from mainland China, they come to study there. But up to the skill set, because AI has grown pretty quickly, I think Hong Kong started a little bit slowly, but now it's already caught up. So I would say when you're in the first early days, there was a challenge to find talents, but now I think that's not the case. So I think now it's quite good, and it has catch up. And actually, I would say right now is the best time to come and join for many reasons. Of course, you asked me about the challenge, so I cannot talk about the good stuff. But yeah, if you ask me another question about the good, I will tell you.
The challenge can be good thing as well.
Yeah.
How about the culture-wise?
I mean, I lived there 10 years. I guess that's a good proof that it's good enough, and I'm not planning to go. So.
So we have the second. Pleasure.
Hello, thanks for your talks. I have a question. It's more of a broader sense, and what are the things that are being done to mediate the problem that I think is there in healthcare, and at least in the application of AI in healthcare. So far, the examples you have made are, let's say established problems or biomarkers that have been, found and are useful and good. But there's a lot more that we still haven't discovered, and this comes from research. So I'm a PhD student, and I work in research in a lab, and a lot of the funding comes from companies and so on. So, I feel like if there is no very good symbiosis between graduate students and in industry. So I wonder if there are some changes happening in these small use case scenarios in Hong Kong where, let's say the funding is a little bit more evenly distributed, where more PhD students and grad students can be, encouraged and to put a little bit more emphasis on what we don't know rather than the application of what we are currently using AI for.
Maybe I can answer that. So I think when you talk about R&D activities, you talk about universities, also technology transfer and so on, but it's always like a chicken and egg game, what comes first. So I would say the pusher are actually the companies, maybe, can you switch it off, please? Thank you. So we had a company from London called Novi. They're working on the biomarker for detecting glaucoma and AMD in advance. So when it happens too late, then you can make the intervention and so on. So you have to create a kind of a biomedical or biotechnology group, and then you have to make the AI group because it's based on data and so on. So I think they will make the proactive activities, and then it's learning by doing. And now when I mentioned, because the Hong Kong Exchange, they really push biotechnology. So we have not only the Hong Kong Exchange to inject money, but also stakeholders. So I think the universities will not do it, not the technology transfer thing. I think you have to look, for example, utilize Anastasia, the medical AI report. I found there are 180 very promising medical AI companies, and look a little bit where they are. Doesn't matter if they're in Hong Kong or not. So reach out to them, talk to the CEOs, talk to the managers, and sooner or later they will come to Hong Kong. Then we invite you directly to join us. Thank you.
That the government's also aligned, and it's not just the biggest.
Switch on the microphone.
Yeah.
Because-
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's about startups. It's about the university research, because you're a PhD, right?
Yeah. So my question is more how do we keep PhD students or postdocs that have a very, very low income encouraged to do a lot of research, and also spend a lot of time of their lives. And then there's companies that, of course, they focus on a specific topic, but I feel the distance between industry and research can be very, very wide, but also the industry depends on research and so on. So I was wondering, since you're involved in this very specific case, are there is there anything being done to improve this?
Actually, and there's a number of very good, strong medical and AI research groups in the universities in Hong Kong. I can guarantee you, nobody is lacking money. All right, so they all get super funded. They get a lot of collaborations working with mainland China or with the hospitals. Even the examples I mentioned before, the hospital authority, they come in, they apply for the data lab, and then they do some proof of concept, and they apply for funding. They will get it, I guarantee you, in no time. So you will never run out of money. I'm confident telling you that. So if you want to do work as a postdoc later, come actually there, and I'm pretty sure there will be huge opportunities for you, and I wouldn't worry about the funding on that.
Thank you so much. now I go to the third. So, yes, please
Thanks.
go ahead.
I got a question towards Receptor AI. To close a loop a little bit to the talk yesterday from DeepMind, AlphaFold 2, lots of structures. You posted one of the issues you have, lack of structures. Did you actually try to stick in a AlphaFold 2 generated protein to come up with a small molecule target that ended up in the lab and proved to be successful? Like maybe even to what's clinical trials phase 2 you could be by now, I guess?
Thank you for your question. 1, 2, 3. Yes, thank you for interesting question. Yeah, we particularly using AlphaFold into our platform, and when we don't have known structure, we're using AlphaFold to predict the structure of proteins. And AlphaFold is not an ideal solution for all of the tasks, because AlphaFold in a lot of time predicts some bullshit. And in such way, we apply several algorithms that evaluate quality. Also, we use manual curation of each proteins to make sure that all the structure are high quality. Also, when customer comes to us, we using a lot of tools, not only AlphaFolds, also we use homology modeling. It is like a prediction of and building 3D structures based on the sequence amino acids, and that's why we use several holistic approaches to make sure that proteins are high quality, because if there is some mistakes in structure, all the process would be mistaken, and we will spend a lot of money and time to improve it and change. But if there is no structure and AlphaFold can't predict it, and there is no sequence, I think we can't solve this project. But such a project's only maybe 2% from all the customers. That's why it's a very rare case. But it's happened. In most cases, it's when we work with animal proteins, because human proteins are quite good known, but animal proteins sometimes don't have amino sequence and protein structure even. And for AlphaFold, it's crucial to have amino acid sequence to generate structure. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We want to make an announcement because we want to share our slides to everyone in the room, but I think Paula will do the talk.
Well, just a very quick announcement. Those who would like to receive the presentations, we're very happy to share. Give us your data, right? Because since nobody had to sign up for this, we cannot just send it to you. We're happy to share, but then give us a card or any way that we can contact you, right? Just to know.
Further questions? One question the gentleman raised, because you had already the honor, but I come back to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for this panel. It was very interesting. And I'm the co-founder of a startup which is called Synthesia. And we consider Hong Kong as being a very interesting environment for AI medical startup. But the thing is that Hong Kong is one of the most expensive cities on earth. So you were saying that cities don't, that PhD students, for example, wouldn't lack of money. So how would you, could you expand on this for all these stage startup? How could you survive in an environment like Hong Kong without huge funding?
Should I take? Maybe I can also answer that, or Strauss, you go ahead, because I mentioned the
I
science
can answer
part.
that. Actually, I think Hong Kong, yes. I mean, when you do these metrics, it looks like it's a very expensive city. But to be honest, in Hong Kong, you can eat with €4, right, outside. Grab a coffee with €2. And but when the range of expenses, it can vary a lot. But what is cool in Hong Kong is you can really go cheap. You can really live with a minimum when you're in a startup, right? And it depends on your lifestyle, right? Of course, you're gonna go there and actually have a very fancy lifestyle, big apartment, blah, blah, yeah. And you want to also have your startup. Yes, it's difficult, but can you live with a minimum in Hong Kong? I would say, compared to other cities in Europe, I would say you can live with minimum, but you won't have such a high. For example, you have an apartment 60 square meter by paying like 500 euros, 600 euros, for example, like in Greece I'm from. All right, so you won't have that, right? But you can still have a very good lifestyle. And I mean, the salaries, I can talk to you after about salaries. It's actually okay. And also I can tell you that there's a lot of funding for startups by the government. For example, I think if you are a PhD student and you can apply to Science Park and they will cover you, if you're a PhD, 3,000 euros for 2 years. And you can have it's all fully paid, right? And this means you can have 4 PhD students, not PhD students, 2 PhDs actually, all fully covered by the government for 2 years. Also, you can have a master, 2 master students, around 2,000. Are these big money for somebody to live? No, they're not big. But from a startup perspective, you pay another on top 1,000 euros. This means somebody will getting salary 4,000 euros. This means you're spending 1,000, which is less what probably you're paying here, right? So you can balance it like this. That's one of the, back to your question about the good things in Hong Kong, right? Okay.
So I had one more question about, one of the things about the startup and scale-ups is the traction, getting the customers and trying to actually create a digital platform where customers from around the world could actually interact and work with each other and collaborate. Now, this is more about related to the privacy and regulatory aspects. Beside all the tensions that are going on recently, if you look at the GDPR, privacy, HIPAA, and beside that, all the regulatory aspects that come with life science, and recently the Artificial Intelligence Act from the European Union, if you look at digital solutions that the scale-ups will introduce in Hong Kong, how would that, from the privacy and the security and the regulatory aspect, work with customers which actually work all around the world? We onboard customers everywhere from that world, but we are not able to work with or share data with customers who are in Southeast Asia, with customers who are in US. How do you look at that, and what is your perspective on those?
I think the GDPR is good enough, but of course, I'm not sure if you're familiar that China has launched their own data regulatory thing last year. So I think you want to check also this when you're coming there. It doesn't mean it's applied there 100%, but you want to know what's going on in the region because you're scaling. I guess if you're coming to Hong Kong, I guess your thought is to scale in mainland China, right? So then you need to check about the data regulation that has been launched last year and see how they approach different types of data. I think they have different regulations for financial data, medical data, blah, blah, blah. So you need to check about the medical one and see how it's affected. And I cannot elaborate more on this, but yeah, that will be my suggestion.
Thank you very much. Further questions, comments, complaints, jokes?
I think it's good enough.
Okay, so I think we are now at the end of our session, but please exchange the name cards with us if you have interest in our outlines, and then we will send it to you right away. Thank you very much for today. Thank you.
Thank you.